Very good morning, Nikhil.
Good morning, Abhishek.
So, very good morning to everyone and namaskar to 17th World Education Summit. So, here we are live with our next exclusive session with Mr. Nikhil Gambhir, the Business and Innovation Head from Harappa Education. So here it's an exclusive session on the building a cadre of future forward faculty, which has been taken and forwarded by the Nikhil Gambhir, and it's an exclusive session where a presentation has been made by the Nikhil. And I request each and everyone, if you have any question, please drop your question. We will take it live with the Nikhil, and whatever you want to take, you can take it offline as well after this session. So Nikhil sir, over to you. And after that, we will take the question from the audience. And if you want to address their solution, we will take it forward. Nikhil sir.
Sure. Thank you, Abhishek. Just to check, have you got my slides? Would you be
Yes,
presenting
sir.
that?
We got the slide, and the Deepak from our tech team will run from the backend, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Abhishek and the team at ELETS for giving us this opportunity to be part of this platform. Before I get started, to talk to you a little bit about the faculty excellence programs that we have developed and how do we think about how we're thinking about building a future cadre of faculty. I'd like to just set some context and some background, which I think is important for us to understand before we really go deeper into this space. I think the first sort of background is really about the Generation Z, which is the generation that a lot of the faculty members today have to kind of work with. So this is a generation that's really born with technology, where information is readily accessible at their fingertips. They're fast processors of information with poor attention spans, and they struggle to kind of create and stick to any future goals, and they're always in the present. This generation also refuses to be passive learners, and they aren't just interested in simply showing up for class, staying quiet, listening, taking notes and memorizing. They expect to be fully engaged in classrooms, and want the session to be interactive. They want to co-create the learning process. So for them, learning is really about experiences, and they want to connect the academic experience to their personal experiences. So this is one sort of background, which is the new generation of learners that faculty have to kind of work with. I think the second sort of background is really about the workplace, which is getting this generation ready for what the workplace is looking for. And if you look at the workplace, and this is beyond just the fact that we're in a pandemic, the workplace itself has been undergoing so much of change. If you think about what careers looked like 20, 30 years back, they're very different from careers today. Today's careers are extremely dynamic. The expectation that employers have of employees is they want their people to be flexible, adaptable. Learning in just the technical domain is only going to get you so far. If you look at all the reports by LinkedIn or IBM and others, they're all talking about the importance of building resilience, confidence, self-awareness, etc. So this is the second sort of background, which is, how do we think about getting Generation Z ready for the workplace and what employers want? And I think the third thing is really about the education system itself, which is all about the curriculum that we're working with, as well as the technology now that we have to put together. So I think keeping these three things or these three sort of challenges in mind, how do we really think about a program or a method to kind of get faculty ready to train not just themselves, but students on some of these competencies. So just moving forward, if we could move to the next slide. Right. So we've identified 4 sort of areas that we think are extremely critical in thinking about faculty. One is really about building presence as an instructor. If you think about Generation Z, for them, learning is all about learning from celebrities with the kind of access to information that they have. So how does faculty think about becoming a celebrity in the classroom and really, building their presence in the classroom? So this is about building connectedness, the power of using stories, building an environment of co-creation with learners and things like that. So the first part is really about presence. If we could move forward. The second part is really about how do you take the existing curriculum? And I know this is a challenge because faculty also has to deal with certain constraints when it comes to curriculum that all of us have to kind of teach students. So how do you work with existing curriculum and translate them into interesting formats and engaging formats using new platforms? So I think that would be the second sort of piece when we think about building future ready faculty. If we could move forward. The third really is, and this is just talking a little bit about Generation Z itself, which I spoke to you about, and we can just move forward from this. This is the part I spoke to you about, the importance of behavioral skills at the workplace, and the need for employers looking for skills. If we could move forward. Yeah, so just moving forward to the third piece around building future forward faculty. The third is really about dealing with attention span and planning for the 21st century classroom. So one side of it is using existing curriculum and presenting that in a more interesting, engaging manner. And the third is really thinking about new curriculum, keeping this 21st century workplace in mind. So that's really the third part about certain set of skills that we need to build for faculty. If we could move forward. And the fourth is really the human element, right? How do you build connection? How do you build trust? How do you build empathy? So if you were to just recap these four parts, thinking about building presence in the classroom and thinking of how faculty could become celebrities. The second is, how do you translate existing curriculum in an interesting, engaging manner? The third is really working on creating new kinds of curriculum on 21st century skills. And the fourth is really the human connection that faculty have to work with. So with this background and these skill sets that we would like to build with faculty, we at Harappa have put together a program for faculty, which I'd love to walk you through and give you a sense of the work that we have done. So if we could move forward. Right. So this is a program that's been developed in consultation with leading academics and practitioners. It has the unique sort of advantage of recognizing the real challenges that faculty are facing with this generation and the workplace. The idea is to be able to empower faculty to break their shackles of traditional methods of teaching and really meet the need for what the 21st century classroom really needs to look like and feel like. If we could move forward. So what really are we thinking to achieve? Again, just to recap from some of the things that I spoke to you about. How do we get faculty to become cognitive coaches and mentors to students? How do we get them to embrace and facilitate change? How do we get them to build presence, relationships and trust, work in a collaborative manner to create content? How do we think about getting them ready for the world of online? And a program that is kind of scalable, something that can work for a range of faculty coming from different disciplines, coming from different backgrounds and different locations. A program that could work at scale for the different faculty members in colleges and universities. So just walking you through the curriculum that we use here at Harappa, we truly believe in the idea of behaviors, which are really the day-to-day that faculty need to kind of think about in the classroom. And this is an interesting quote that I read, right? Just as authors use words to write a book, human beings use behaviors to create their life. And in that sense, it's really about the day-to-day actions that people work on and faculty work on in classrooms. So this is that particular curriculum, the Harappa curriculum, broken down into 5 habits or 5 foundational competencies. Learning how to think, how to problem solve, how to communicate, how to collaborate, and how to lead. And under each of these competencies, we've got 5 online modules, 5 online courses, as you can see the names in blue. And this is really an inventory of 25 different behavioral modules that we put together and string together to put this faculty excellence program in place, keeping the needs that I spoke to you about. So if we could move forward. So just walking you through the delivery and the method itself. So one is just the curriculum, which I spoke to you about. The second is the method, right? And in some ways, it's like, thinking of faculty as learners themselves. So how do you use the online medium to make programs engaging, interesting, and relevant? So this is a blended sort of model that we put together. It's a mix of using online courses or modules, as you saw from the previous slide. There is an element of personal one-on-one coaching, where faculty have the chance of working with senior mentors and industry mentors and practitioners. We have expert-led masterclasses. So these are sessions run by other senior faculty members from across the world who've engaged with 21st century learning and building classrooms for that. There are virtual instructor-led sessions, which is building these concepts, bringing these concepts to life, through role plays, examples, case studies. There's peer group discussion where faculty have the chance to work with each other. There's additional reading material and obviously post-course exercises. So the idea is really to build a learning journey for faculty, so they can kind of find this program meaningful. And an example of what those 5 courses could look like are mentioned over here, keeping those 21st century skills in mind. So if we could move forward. Right, so now I'll just talk to you about a case study of some of the work that we have done. This is an example of the program we've run with Geetam, the Gandhi Institute of Technology and Management. And this really was a program where we worked with Geetam to help their faculty become online ready, to maximize certain learning outcomes for their students, as well as keeping this 21st century classroom in mind. So I'll just quickly take you through this journey and give you a sense of what we did. So based on that particular need of getting faculty to become online ready, we devised a solution. This was a very impactful 7-day faculty training program for about 330 faculty members. The focus of this program was to help faculty think about how they should think about their current curriculum, which is designing their digital course plan. How should they think about the virtual medium, keeping engagement and Generation Z in mind? Managing certain elements of student participation, and obviously, a critical portion around assessments and thinking about the kinds of assessments that should get used with this particular medium. The idea was to move completely away from the model of thinking of just one final exam that would be delivered right at the end to assess how students were thinking and feeling about the content they were learning, but break it down further into smaller quizzes and methods that faculty could track on a real-time basis. So that's just an example of what we've done. If we could move forward. So, putting a learning program in place is one part of the story, but an equally important part is to be able to measure the effectiveness and measure the learning of learners, both at a base level as well as at a level after the program. And so we put together this engine of analytics, with a number of reports to learn how faculty were progressing in this program. And there were different kinds of reports that got created through this journey. And this is just some examples of visuals, as you will see in this particular journey. again, just a sense of the distribution of some of the skills that we spoke about, keeping the 21st century in mind. So again, a range of different skills and analysis that was done with the group. So we had a good result. This was a pilot that we had worked with them on, and now kind of working with them on a larger sort of rollout of a program. The results were really twofold. One was understanding how faculty improved on some of these skills and what they were able to do before and after the program, keeping that inclusive classroom in mind, as well as obviously some of the qualitative feedback that came in from different faculty members. And these are just some glimpses of what those results look like, the qualitative side that's on the screen. This is just some additional sort of feedback that we've received from other universities that we have worked with. We've been running these programs with a number of different colleges and universities, and again, just some qualitative feedback on that. I think just the idea of a program that is scalable, relevant to the 21st century mindset, both for faculty, which they can then take down to students, is something we've seen good sort of traction and intent in, and we're glad that it's working. Great. So I think with that, I'd like to sort of end, my session and just, to bring to the end what we wanted to say about thinking about training future forward faculty and really the program that we've put together, keeping that need in mind. So thank you. Happy to answer any questions that any of you may have, either on the program or anything else that I may have spoken of.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you very much for giving this absolute presentation regarding the future forward faculty. Nikhil, there's a question to you that you have talked about regarding the behavior changes. So this post-COVID and the pre-COVID, there's a various behavior changes has come down regarding the in way of learning, in way of teaching. Right now we are doing the virtual learning and teaching. So what the major challenges, Nikhil, according to regarding the behavior changes, what the behavior changes has come out and how we can overcome this?
So I think there are two parts to that question, if I understand correctly. One is, what are the behaviors that have become important in today's world? And this is an interesting point, because the actual behaviors, whether you look at what employers want or whether what we need faculty to train students on or what students really need is pretty much the same, right? They're all talking about certain fundamental ability of being self-aware. With so much information and so much change, how do you get to know yourself better so you kind of minimize the clutter and confusion around you, right? Self-awareness and leading yourself is one of those behaviors. The second behavior obviously is around the ability to communicate, right? In the virtual medium, how do you think about the right methods of communication where you're only limited by one type, which is just the verbal medium? You're limited by, not using body language. Collaboration, right? Again, with this new medium, how do you think about working with each other? Because we've all moved into this model of working from home from our own computers. But how does one build those behaviors of collaboration? And I think the last thing is just the ability to synthesize information. So processing information, because there's just so much content available out there, that how do people, whether students or faculty, think about information? So those are some of the behaviors that have come to light because of the pandemic. I think the second part of the question is, what are the challenges in helping learners build these behaviors, right? And that's obviously an age-old problem around motivation and self sort of reliance. I think the key part of this is trying to connect these behavior changes to individual goals and individual aspirations, right? So as you roll out learning programs, or we roll out learning programs, it's extremely important to understand the learners, their mindset, their goals, what's in it for me, the Wi-Fi principle, and trying to connect these little behaviors to their individual days and goals, so they can try and think about applying it, on a sustainable manner.
And Nikhil, one question that is this faculty program is on the university or any individual can join and directly contact you regarding this if he want to join this faculty program. Is at the
Right
university
now,
level?
this is offered. Right. So right now, this is offered largely through colleges and universities at the moment. We are in the process of making some of these programs available to individual faculty members as well. But at the moment, it's working through, colleges and universities.
And Nikhil, you have just talked about regarding the content that content is available on the right now, ready-made content is there. So there's a much confusion in the faculty as well as the students also that which content where we should go. So how Harappa education will help them in that which content should the we should pick that it will help us in grow our skills. It will help us in the 21st century skills.
So I think, you're right. There is a lot of content available. I think it's important to be able to uh, find content that is also interconnected to each other, because these 21st century behavioral skills cannot be taught or cannot be learned in silo, right? It's important to find a curriculum where the behaviors are interconnected with each other, and that's, for example, what we do at Harappa, where each of the habits are interlinked with each other. That's the first part. I think there's a certain amount of consistency that's needed with these skills. So, as opposed to watching some videos from a certain site and videos from another site, there's a certain sense of, because behavior is also about consistency, right? So a certain level of consistency, which I think we put together with our program. And I think the third is really being able to measure and practice, right? How do you have, because just watching a video online is one part of it. How do you convert that experience into actually applying what you're learning and measuring that on a regular basis, and then feeding that back into the instruction you're getting? So a behavioral engine or a behavioral system that allows for this, I think, would be meaningful to think about your content.
Perfect, Nikhil. And there's a question that what are your thoughts on virtual teaching pedagogy? Do you think it's effective?
So I think, I think if you look at the virtual medium, it's important to note that there are certain advantages and obviously certain disadvantages that come with it. Obviously, the advantages that personally I think are very powerful are definitely the idea of blended learning, where can you have students go through the fundamentals of the concepts and the rules of the content in advance, in an asynchronous manner, and the classroom session is really more about application and creating that classroom as this 21st century classroom, where it's more discussion, more application, more interconnected learning. So I think from that point of view, obviously technology has a huge role to play, where if students go through the fundamentals of the content and come to class with that basic amount of knowledge, how do you then make that classroom into something more engaging with the power of the faculty?
And Nikhil, my question is to you is that you are working on the ground, you are working with the academicians, you are working with the policymakers also, you are dealing with the policymakers also. So what is the major challenge you are facing right now that has to be overcome to make the learning based outcome? If we are doing right now virtual education, if we once the this corona situation will go on, we come to the physical also. So what are the major challenges that you want that is should be overcome to make the learning based outcome so most applicable?
So I think just two, three things, off the back of my mind. I think currently with the load and the expectations the expectations that are needed from faculty, I think there's a certain time crunch that faculty have, and really my heart does go out to them, because it's a difficult time for them, right?
Yes.
Because they still have to fulfill the same curriculum requirements, same expectations, but in a completely different medium. So I think, just rethinking the curriculum itself in terms of what's absolutely essential for learning for students, keeping this 21st century mind would be one part of it. And if some of that could be brought down and rethought of. I think the second would really be about pedagogy and the kind of bringing in more project-based learning, because if you can enable students to do more and get faculty to do more, versus kind of just move this in a theoretical manner, that I think would be helpful. So I think just the project sort of side of learning, as well as relooking at the curriculum to understand what is the absolute necessary content that's needed for success in the workplace.
And my last question, Nikhil, to you is that employability is a major issue in the past also, and in the present also we are discussing. And so what your thoughts and views that a student or any faculty should follow these skills that will enhance for the future? Like how he, because major concern is like how we'll get the employee, if we get the job or this. So what major skills should they follow that will help in the lifelong learning as well, plus for the employability?
Right. So if you look at what employers really want, right, what do employers really want? They basically want people who can solve problems for them, right? Businesses or companies are set up just because they solve problems for customers or people or society, right? So I think, we truly believe that these fundamental 25 skills or 5 habits are timeless skills, especially at a time like this when there's so much change taking place. So to simplify my answer, helping students learn how to think about problems and solve problems. And these don't need to be problems on a specific domain, whether it's engineering or business or sciences. Just being able to think about how to think about solving a problem is one particular sort of skill. The second, obviously, like I spoke about on communication and collaboration, most people at the workplace today want employees who can work with each other. They don't want people who are working in a silo capacity, working individually. There's become a need for products and services to get created when people are actually coming together as teams. So the interpersonal side of people is now becoming extremely critical at the workplace. And those skills were always there before, like even 3,000-4,000 years ago, these skills were still the same. So it's funny because in some ways we're going back to the basics to get students ready for this ever-changing workplace.
Perfect. And just a closing remark, Nikhil, we need your views as well as on the national education policy. Are we on the right track?
Yeah, I think definitely on the right track. There's some very good sort of points that have been mentioned there. I think personally for me, the idea of an interconnected curriculum system where their credentials as well as the ability for far transfer, which is learning not just being sort of limited to a discipline, I think is in the right direction for us to keep this complex workplace in mind.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you for giving your ideas and innovations and helping the faculties for gaining the future skills. So I request my audience, if you have any question, you can take the question offline as well as Nikhil. And our Harappa Education team is also available in the expo area. You can directly contact to the Harappa Education team also. And if you want to put your question, you can put your question at education@digitallearning.in also. We will directly forward your question to Nikhil. And if you want to avail the solution of Harappa Education, you directly message to the Nikhil, Mehak, and Saurav from the Harappa Education team. So they will get back to you soon. Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you for giving out your precious time for World Education Summit and enlightened us for this future job skills. Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.